Time for Beans and Business. Good morning, friends. Welcome to the show. I'm looking back on things. This is 2 years now. This is two years now that I've been coming on here on Thursday mornings and talking about the business of being an independent artist. Currently living in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's January 12th, 2023. And as I said, this is about 2 years now we've been doing the show. And I look back, the very, very first thing that I talked about, the very first thing was about just keep going. That was the very first piece of advice that I put into this show, which, is, of course, that seems so obvious and so simple. But the simple fact of the matter is, the reality is that the difference between making it and not making it is whether or not you keep going. If you continue to make art, if you continue to pursue your music, you're making it every day. You get to set your own definition of what making it means for you, but just keep going. So I want to tell you just a little bit of a story because I'm having a moment in my time in my career where I can just be proud because I went to school in 2003 at GRCC for music, and in my mind I was going to school for music. I wanted to learn about music. I wasn't doing much else at the time. And so I decided to go to GRCC and take a bunch of music classes. And despite the fact that I enjoyed music and I had started a band and I was writing songs and I sang in the choir, I also wasn't particularly good at sitting still or paying attention or doing homework. And so after a particularly astute conversation with one of the professors there, and he was like, "Well, what are you doing here?" And I was like, "Well, I want to learn about music." And he's like, "And what do you want to do with that once you finish here?" And I was like, well, I want to write songs and I want to play in a band that plays the songs that I write." And he goes, "Then why are you here?" And it was like, you're right. I already am in a band that plays the songs that I write. And so I dropped out of college because I didn't have a real reason to finish school. So I don't have a whole lot of shame about that. It's not a big deal to drop out of music school, but at the same time, I never finished, and that felt bad. And so I'm back in school now, and I'm taking business and marketing classes, which I'm really enjoying. But because of this is my industry, I couldn't resist. GRCC has a whole music business program. In fact, they have a partnership with Ferris State University where you can go to school at GRCC for 3 years and then go to school for 1 year at Ferris State for a degree in music business. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm just going to school for marketing. But nonetheless, I couldn't resist taking the Intro to Music Business class. And last night was our first class, and we had introductions. Good morning, Janelle. We had introductions, and after I introduced myself as a singer-songwriter and a musician and playing in a band, we've played all over the state, and I'm also I host a songwriter series, and I'm on the board of directors for the Michigan Music Alliance. Like, the professor kind of stepped to the side and said, "You could teach this class." Which is a good feeling, and I just had to take a moment and pause on the steps of GRCC and remember that I dropped out of school there to pursue music, and now that's my full-time job, and I'm back in school with all this knowledge and all this ability to help the other students in the class, and also the teacher and everybody, and it feels good. And so the advice for today comes from one of my favorite. So I played basketball when I was a kid, and in 1993, Jimmy Valvano died from cancer. This is a huge story in the basketball world. And before he died, about a month or 6 weeks or so before he died, he gave this really inspirational speech. And he basically said, "I don't have much time left. And so my advice to you is don't give up. Don't ever give up." And I never forgot those words. So here's to you, Coach Jimmy V. And that's my advice to you for today. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. We'll see you next time on Beans and Business.